Most people know Peaky Blinders from the hit television series, but what if I told you the real Peaky Blinders were very different from what you see on screen? And some of the most famous parts of the story may actually be myths. The Peaky Blinders were a real street gang that operated in Birmingham, England during the late 19th century. They became known for violence, stylish clothing, and their reputation on the streets. But unlike the television series, they were not powerful crime bosses controlling an empire. The truth is far more surprising. To understand the real story, we have to look past the fiction and explore the streets where it all began. The real Peaky Blinders appeared in the 1880s and 1890s. Most members were young working-class men. Birmingham at the time was crowded, poor, and dangerous. Many gangs fought over territory, gambling, and street influence. The Peaky Blinders became one of the most feared groups in the city. Unlike the television version, they were not led by a genius mastermind like Tommy Shelby. Instead, they were one of many local gangs competing for control. Their influence was local, tied to specific neighborhoods and street corners. Their power came from fear and presence on the streets. Gambling and protection rackets were their primary trade. Life was cheap and violence was a daily reality. The police struggled to keep order in the sprawling industrial city. The Peaky Blinders thrived in this environment of poverty and neglect. But they were a product of their time, not an empire of crime. Their story is a reflection of the harshness of the Industrial Revolution, where survival often meant joining a gang. One of the most famous legends claims that gang members hid razor blades inside their caps. According to the story, they used the blades as weapons. However, many historians doubt this ever happened. Disposable razor blades were expensive and uncommon during the period when the gang existed. Some researchers believe the name Peaky Blinders came from their stylish appearance. The peaked caps were a fashion statement, and blinder was local slang for someone looking sharp. Others suggest it referred to the way they used their caps to hide their identity or blind others. The truth remains uncertain, but the razor blade story is likely a later addition. Regardless of the blades, the caps became their visual trademark, a symbol of their status in the Birmingham underworld. They were the stylish predators of the slums. Their clothing was a weapon of intimidation, a way to stand out in a city of millions. But the razor blades remain the most enduring part of the myth, a legend that continues to blur the lines between fact and fiction. To understand the gang, you must understand Birmingham itself. The city was one of the industrial centers of Britain. Factories operated day and night. The air was thick with smoke and soot. Thousands of workers lived in poor conditions, in houses called back-to-backs. Crime, poverty, and violence were common in these overcrowded districts. For many young men, joining a gang offered protection, status, and money. It was a way to escape the drudgery of the factory floor. The city was a place of extreme contrast between wealth and squalor. While some made fortunes in industry, others struggled to find their next meal. Birmingham was the city of 1,000 trades, but for the poor, life was hard. Gangs like the Peaky Blinders filled the void left by a lack of social support. They provided a sense of belonging in a cold, industrial world, but their presence also meant constant danger for the community. Fear of the gang was as thick as the Birmingham fog. Their name was whispered in the back streets and pubs, a legend born from the grit and smoke of the Industrial Revolution. By the early 20th century, the Peaky Blinders began losing influence. New gangs emerged. Gangs like the Birmingham Boys, led by Billy Kimber, became more powerful. The Sabini gang also challenged for control of the gambling tracks. At the same time, the police became more effective and organized. Stricter laws and more frequent arrests began to break the gang's grip. Society was also changing. Better housing and education offered new paths. The harsh conditions that birthed the Peaky Blinders were slowly fading. Eventually, the gang disappeared from the history of Birmingham. But their legend survived in the stories and memories of the city. The real men were gone, but the name Peaky Blinder remained, a ghost from the city's industrial past, until it was rediscovered by a new generation. The television series is inspired by history, but many characters and events are fictional. He is a composite character based on many different figures. The real gang leaders were often less charismatic and more brutal. Many of the show's complex plot lines were created for entertainment. The real Peaky Blinders operated on a much smaller scale. They weren't international crime lords, they were street-level enforcers. Characters like Billy Kimber were real, but their interactions with the Shelbys are fiction. Yet the show successfully introduced millions to a fascinating piece of history. It sparked a global interest in the true story behind the legend. The real Peaky Blinders were not international crime lords. They were a street gang born from the harsh realities of Victorian England. Their story is a reminder that behind every legend lies a very different reality. And sometimes the truth is just as fascinating as fiction, a legacy that continues to haunt the streets where it all began. The real Peaky Blinders may be gone, but their shadow remains. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more true stories behind famous myths. Discover the truth behind the movies and historical legends. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.